So yes, for this week's main topic, as you probably all saw, if you follow us on social media, if you have heard us talking about it in our last episode, we spent Memorial Day weekend with a long weekend out at the Walt Disney World Resort. Altogether, we were there from Thursday evening on May 23rd all the way through much of Monday on May 27th, Memorial Day itself. So full 4+ day weekend, 4-night weekend out at Walt Disney World. And we just had a great time. We experienced some new stuff that we hadn't done before. We revisited some old favorites, and we just had a great time.
Oh, yeah, it was great. And like you said, it was really fun to try things we haven't done in a while, which is so awesome to think that there still are a lot of things we haven't done. Or the flip side of that, things that we've done, but it's been so long ago that there may have been some new things about those. So it's going to be exciting to talk about it.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about our days out there beginning on Thursday, May 23rd. That was when I actually had to work that day. I actually worked a long day to make sure we could take the day off.
Right.
Because we knew I was getting Monday off. So if I got Friday off too, then we head over Thursday night, like it's a complete full mini vacation.
Right.
And so that's what we did. I got off work at 5:00 and we immediately loaded up the car and headed out to Walt Disney World. And we knew it was going to be late, and we hemmed and hawed on whether we were going to go visit the parks when we got in there. But we had a wonderful room that we were going to stay in with a theme park view. So we decided, let's play it on the down low that night. We went first thing, talking about our adventurous eating from a couple episodes ago, went over to Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. And of course, we mentioned it before. This is one of our favorite things to do. We picked up, we did a mobile order of Sanaa's bread service that we could pick up there and take it back to our room.
Right. And actually, we made the reservation or the order early in the day, knowing about what time we'd be getting there. We wanted to make sure we'd captured that window because we didn't want to have to go park at the resort, unload, and then go back out. We just thought, let's do it all in one sweep. So that was, as we've talked about that as a tip, it's really convenient for mobile ordering that you can start in the morning and place a mobile order for in the evening, and you can always change the time.
Which you did.
too.
I think you changed it by about 10-15 minutes because we were running slightly later than we expected.
Right. Yeah. And so I was able to adjust it a little bit, so that made it really convenient as well. So
yeah, and we got there. We had the perfect parking space right next to the elevator up to the lobby. Just went up, zipped up. Michelle went down, got the food, came back, and we were back in our car heading to our resort, which was Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, which is one of our home resorts and one of our favorites. Of course, we had a wonderful theme park view, Seven Seas Lagoon view. It's one of our favorite places in the world.
Yeah, you definitely get to feel the island vibes while you're there. And we had a funny experience in when we got to our room that they have tiki torches all along the outer areas of the grounds there. And the one that was right in front of our view of our room was not lit. And this is to say how amazing Disney cast members are in their level of service. We just called the front desk. You get to I think a centralized guest services area and said, I don't know if there's anything that can be done, but we noticed this. And I would say within about 15, 20 minutes, it wasn't long. There was somebody actually from engineering who came to our door, wanted to make sure they understood what was going on, what we had noticed. We showed them outside of our balcony, and they drove up and they got it working, and it worked the entire time from then on for our whole stay.
It was kind of funny to watch. I think he fiddled with it a little bit. Then I think he whacked it a couple times, and then it started to work. It was, let me just say this throughout the visit, it was kind of funny because it was the little tiki torch that could. There was torches on either side of it that were fully going all the time, full flame. This one was going, it wasn't quite as high. And every once in a while it would go out, and then boom, it would go again.
Yeah, you could hear it clicking.
Yeah, it was the best.
Get the pilot going.
It was like our little resort tiki torch.
Right.
Our little our little mascot tiki torch is what I'm trying to say. And we just enjoyed the heck out of it, that it was the little tiki torch that could.
Right.
And, that was so fun. And
Yeah. And again, a big shout out to the cast members who they could have just blown it off saying, oh, it's broken, or all right, we'll put in a note to get it repaired or whatever. But no, that evening, within minutes, they had somebody asking us what it was and immediately sent somebody over to get it resolved. And I don't think you get that level of service most at other places, that you could say, hey, out in the gardens in front of me, there's a tiki torch not working. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, wonderful cast members, and is going to be, as it usually is, but it was again in this case, is going to be a theme going through this trip. We ran into some wonderful cast members that did some special, fantastic things during it, and we really... We can't appreciate them enough for all they do to make our trips magical.
Yeah, I mean, even the person on guest services who took the call, and I said, I don't know if there's anything that can be done. It could just be broken, I said, and I'm not trying to be complaining. I just wondered if they could take a look at it. And she was so sweet. Oh, yeah, absolutely. We got to have somebody take a look at that. And, like not ever giving me the feeling that it was an inconvenience with the request.
And the other thing was that we had considered, because we had a second floor room, which luckily with DVC resorts, they do have a lanai, do have a balcony. Second floor rooms on much of the Polynesian resort do not have balconies. That's not the case with DVC. You do get the lanai out there. But we were a little, do we want a second floor room? Can we get a third floor room? We called to see about it, and they said, yeah, we can't do it tonight on the first night, but if you still want to do it for the nights afterwards, we can arrange that for you. So we put in a possible request that let us think about it, let us sleep on it, see how we enjoy the room, and then we'll tell you tomorrow or the next day on Friday if we're going to move. We ended up enjoying the room just fine, and we ended up telling them, giving them a call back and saying, no, we're good. But they were ready to go ahead and accommodate us if that room wasn't the best room for us.
Exactly. It was amazing how, and offering to say, hey, we can move your things and everything. Just bring your items to Bell Services and we'll bring them up to your room, the new room, once it's, cleaned out and ready for you. So they were amazing with that too.
For sure. So we just enjoyed our bread service. We brought a little bit other food to kind of sample along with the bread service as well. Had a little wine, enjoyed our night there. Then boom, out on our lanai to watch Happily Ever After from across Seven Seas Lagoon into Magic Kingdom. And still number one in my heart. I love that show so much, even from a somewhat distance away. It still was a beautiful, beautiful show.
For sure. I mean, you don't get to see the projections on the castle. You see,
bit.
Right. You see lights. You can't necessarily tell the images on there, but you do get to experience, they pipe the music out in the area because some people go watch outside as well on the grounds. But so you get to hear the music that's synchronized with what the show is, what's going on with the show, and you see all the fireworks and hear all the booms and everything, and it really is special.
And you found the channel on the TV that has it too. I think it's channel 72,
right?
Is the one that has the fireworks music. If you want to watch it as well, there.
Right? Yeah. There's another channel on. We've noticed on in the TVs on the Disney properties that have they'll show the fireworks show throughout the day. You can go on there and watch that. It's kind of like, I think, on demand. But this is just the music synchronized with what's going on there. And so, that one is a different channel. And we were happy that we found that because that also made it a little bit more special to be able to hear it from our room too. But I think that was the second day.
I do think you could see some of the projection. Like if you brought binoculars, to where we were there, you might have been able to see a little bit. I could see a little bit of the projection. I have pretty good far sight.
Right.
Like I can see pretty far, fairly clearly. I could see a little of the projections.
Right.
I wouldn't say like it was clear. It helps that you know how the show goes.
Right,
if you've
right.
been there enough. I
just don't want people there get a room there think, oh, I can really watch the show and the projections. It's
not a substitute for actually being in Magic Kingdom during Happily Ever After and having all that totally immersive experience.
Exactly.
But it is nice and calm and relaxing, and it is a nice way to kind of fill out the evening. For sure. So one thing we knew about this trip was that weekend was going to be the hottest weekend so far this year. Like May has been the hottest month in Florida, like ever.
Yeah, it's on record.
Yeah, it's a record-setting month for heat, and a lot of it was based around this weekend. Like we were in the mid-upper 90s with feels like 100+ temperatures every single day. So we knew that we were going to have to get an early start in the parks, take advantage of that early entry you get for staying at a Disney resort. Every Disney resort on property gets that ability. When it's days like this, it is worth its weight. It's worth its weight in gold any day, but especially when you're talking about where it's going to be oppressive around 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon out there.
Exactly. I mean, like you said, it's great anytime because it does make getting through the entry part. I mean, you go through security with everybody else, but you get kind of like an expedited fast pass into the park.
Now, that being said, we plan to do that for our second day in the park. We didn't quite I think we made it maybe 5 minutes before the early entry ended, but we didn't quite get there completely early entry, but good enough. Got in, we went to Epcot on that day. We decided this is a good day for us to do Epcot. Went in, we had to do Spaceship Earth strictly for the reason, well, we love Spaceship Earth, don't get me wrong, but we had to do it strictly for the reason because the last 3-4 times we've been on Spaceship Earth, you know how they do, if you know Spaceship Earth, they do they capture your photo and then they put it into a little fun little video at the end that you pick the choices and kind of choose your own adventure thing at the end. My face does not appear, so much so that they just put a cartoon face last time we were there. They didn't even bother trying to put me up on there. So we tried, well, you know what? Let's try and switch seats because we kind of tend to sit on the same side when we go in. So we switched seats this time. And voila, it worked. My face was actually involved in it. We couldn't have been it. We cheered audibly when it happened.
I kept thinking, am I really living with a ghost?
With a vampire. Whatever. I don't really exist. I'm a figment of her imagination. I'm an if. I'm an if.
Yes. But yeah, so yay, you exist. Captured on Disney photos.
So we did that. Then we headed over to, we kind of walked around and just checked some stuff out. But we decided it was the last weekend of Flower and Garden. So we wanted to hit up a couple food booths. Not a lot. We've hit up most everything. But one thing, the one we really, really love, especially early because it opens earlier than anything else, was Brunch Cot. So we went over there, got there early, made sure we were there, one of the first people in line to get from Brunch Cot, and we got our favorite things. The avocado toast is spectacular. And beautiful. And those cinnamon toast or cinnamon roll bites, whatever they're called, are just to die for.
Yeah. They're the one thing that if you say you got to splurge on something that's very sugary and stuff, because we don't eat a lot of sugary things, but those are great. Those are the exception.
Those are so good. We got the little boozy coffee there and we just sat and enjoyed that. Then it was time we had to go over to, which we would do often anyway. We went over to do Living with the Land, which we enjoy. One thing we noticed this time that I don't think we noticed last time, or if it even existed last time, was that they were doing some little themed areas to a few Disney films within Living with the Land.
Right. Some classics like Alice in Wonderland,
Snow White. There were like gnomes around. They were supposed to kind of be like there were 7 gnomes, like the 7 dwarfs around within the plants. And
they had some nods to Little Mermaid. Yeah. And interestingly, we found out about those is that the gardeners who work in Living with the Land, I know they have a better name than that, but anyways, they're the ones that have come up with those ideas and have gone to the Imagineers and presented, they would have to do a pitch and say, this is what we want in these areas. And the Imagineers would take a look at that. And once they gave their stamp of approval, actually, it was the people who worked at the Land Pavilion who would assemble these. So the Imagineers were just overseeing that. I guess that fit theming and was appropriate. But this was ownership by the people who work there. And I know, there's been discussion about IP and attractions and everything. This was developed by the people who take pride in what their job is there and their love of Disney. And I just thought that was so interesting and exciting to hear that they're the ones that have sprinkled that cute little, like I said, homage to these films.
And here's what I will also say about this: when you talk about things you've heard us talk about in the past, then like the Disneyland's It's a Small World, they've added IP into that, where you have some of the dolls that are actually representative of certain characters within their respective countries,
right.
or
areas,
Little Mermaid, Ariel's, underwater,
right,
in that area. It's, if you have an argument against IP, I get it. But when you hear a child go through there and like, oh, there's Ariel and there's Alice and everything, it changes your perspective a little bit, because what's it all about? It's about the kids really enjoying this, and the fact that they are so tickled to see them there always brings a smile to my face. And the same thing with these parts that they added to Living with the Land.
Right. I mean, and that's what happened in this. I don't know that I would have initially noticed the Ariel or Little Mermaid items that were there. It was actually a child and their mother behind us pointing that out. And again, when you think of the Land Pavilion, we find it interesting and intriguing to look at the different ways that they're growing crops and things. But for a kid, that level of interest is probably not as high. So to have some of that other type of items there that they can associate more with is so cute. And again, I thought it was really brilliant the way they did it. And I was glad to hear that it was, the people who work in the gardens of the land who actually came up with the idea of let's do this. I mean, I think they're always trying to make things special in that area, like around holiday times where they decorate it with holiday themed items. So this is just really cute.
Yeah. I thought it was adorable. I really liked that. I thought it brought something in. I mean, the plant life is always fascinating and interesting. I love Living with the Land, but it added a new aspect that I hadn't seen before that I thought was creative and wonderful at the same time.
Exactly.
And fit right in with everything that was there. It just added an extra wonderful piece to what is already a fascinating and fun attraction.
Right. And it keeps it fresh.
Yeah. So we timed this out nearly perfectly. Right after that, we were able to get off, and we had booked in advance, which you need to do. It didn't used to be that way, but now it is definitely something you need to do because it is extremely popular. We had a behind the seeds tour there at Living with the Land ready to go, and it almost perfectly timed out for when we got off the attraction.
Right. Yeah. We didn't have to, we got there, we checked in, filled out all the waivers and everything, and just had to wait a few more minutes for them to have everybody together and ready to start.
So if you've never done it, we highly recommend it, especially if you love Living with the Land. It is a fascinating tour to what they do in their greenhouses, how they're working to protect this, what the different kind of sciences they use to create these different types of plant life and animals, yes, too. And it's a really, really fascinating tour. It's about an hour-long tour, maybe a little bit less than that.
Yeah, I think they tell you to budget an hour in your day.
But our guide was wonderful. Shout out to Dana, our guide, who was another one of our wonderful cast members that we complimented because she did a fantastic job of keeping it fun, keeping it entertaining, and definitely educational as we were going through this. And it's just a magnificent behind the scenes, literally look at how that all comes together and what all the work that they do to make this plant life that they use actually within the parks and a lot of their restaurants, as we've learned and heard in the past.
Right. Yes. When you're going through the ride, you hear that, that the resorts use the products that they have. And they do. And she even pointed out some areas like Tiffin's. I know we heard recently from Justin on Monday Morning Monorail that they have the salad right now at Nomad's Lounge, also using
I think it's actually called like the land salad or
Right,
something like
right.
that, or living with a land salad. Yes.
Exactly. And the same thing, I think that's the same thing that they have at Tiffin's, and that they are using, the products there from the land. But yeah, talk about getting behind, they call it behind the scenes, which is so creative, but behind the scenes of, what you see in the attraction, getting that access to go backstage there and take a look at things and have somebody who not only is explaining things, but is very willing to answer questions. And you get a little taste, you get a little sampling of some of the vegetables out there, and the level of recycling. And, obviously you would think of composting, but it was just incredible to see the detail of, how they are going to be, zero impact on the earth by their practices there. And it even included the baggie that she had to hold the vegetables that we were all sampling from, and how she, had a place specific for that. They definitely distinguish how they recycle their material.
Yeah, they actually have an area, and they pointed out, where they separate everything that they use there,
Right.
including within the tour, including the toothpicks that they serve us the tastes of the of some of the vegetables
Exactly.
there from
Yeah.
there's a spot to put the toothpicks in.
Yes,
It's very
which
specific.
is separate from
Yeah.
the paper cups of the
Yeah.
water. And
But it's a wonderful tour. Again, if you love living with the land, but even if you just like learning new things or trying something different, highly recommend it. It's not an expensive tour. You do have to book in advance.
yeah, that's 60 days. You need to be on it.
Right, because it used to not be that way. They used to be able to walk up, but it's become very popular, and I totally understand why. I mean, the last time we did it. Oh, I want to say it was like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, that we did it, and we walked up and did it, and we were the only one. It was like a private tour because we were
Right.
the only ones in our group. That doesn't happen now.
No.
That is not going to happen now. But it is still, and I was concerned about doing it again because of the fact that the last time we did it, we basically had a private tour. I'm like, how are you going to match up to that?
Right.
Still was great, wonderful, excellent. We'll do it again for sure. And like I said, I highly recommend that you do it as well.
Yes, you can find it in the Enchanted Extras in there. It's a behind the scenes tour. And if you're an annual pass holder or DVC member, you do get a discount from there.
Good to know.
Yep.
Good to know. So we did that, and then we just kind of walked around, checked a few things out, went to the DVC lounge and enjoyed that, as we always do, especially since this is the last time we're going to get to see it in this current state. We don't know how they're going to change it during
Right.
that 6 weeks or whatever it is that they're going to be off. But we went out there, tried to get a little info, like, what's going on? What are you guys changing up here? But no one either knew or wanted to tell us
Right,
what was
right.
happening. So we'll just find out for ourselves here in a few weeks' time.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be opener again in July when we
Right.
get back.
Yes.
But it'll be interesting to see what they do with the moving it kind of temporarily to the Odyssey and in the meantime. So check that out. And then it was getting very, very hot, and it'd been relatively early morning, late night the night before. So we decided to go back to our resort after that.
Yeah, figuring that's the benefit of having those early entry times for staying at the resort.
So we went back, got a little rest, got a little nap, cooled off, showered, did some other things, and just kind of enjoyed. And then as it got to where it was getting into the evening, it's time to go back to Epcot because we had a couple more things that we had never done before that we wanted to be sure and check out on our Epcot day.
Yeah, very important things.
So our first thing we did when we got there was that we had a reservation for a dining establishment that we had never eaten at before at Epcot. Michelle, where did we go for dinner?
The creperie.
La Crêperie de Paris. Yeah, so that's the newish
Yes.
crepe restaurant that's near the Ratatouille attraction in the France Pavilion.
Yeah.
We didn't do the quick takeout. We did the actual table service restaurant within there, which you can order a la carte, or they also have a prefix menu. And we decided, let's go ahead and go all out. And we did the prefix menu.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely, if you want to save some money, you don't have to do all the courses. In terms of value for what you're getting versus buying all those things in a la carte, is you might save a couple dollars, not a ton of money, but it is a little bit of a savings doing that menu. Or you can just go there if you wanted just to have a dessert item and coffee or something like that. So it's nice that they have that flexibility.
And we got there and we waited a little bit. They only have a few window seats in there. And we would like to have one because we prefer a window seat rather than be in the middle of the establishment. And so we waited a little extra long, not a lot, super long time, like 10, 15 minutes.
Right.
Got a window table and were served. We decided to go ahead and do the prefix because we wanted to go for the whole experience to check out what it was all about, not just try one crepe, try a couple crepes. And we both ordered different things, mostly, to try and, get an experience of what it was like. So the prefix menu includes either a super salad, a savory crepe, so like a main entree crepe, a dessert crepe, and a glass of hard cider.
French cider.
French cider or a soft drink or something along those lines as well. But we're not big cider drinkers, but we thought, hey, one in France, let's go ahead and do this. So that's what we did. So the soup was very good. It was what we got. Our soup of the day was like a loaded potato soup.
Yes,
it was like a chowder, really, but it was very delicious.
Oh, it was. I ate every little drop of it.
Yeah. It was really, really good. Then we got two different crepes. I got the salmon crepe with creme fraiche, and you got the goat cheese,
right, and spinach
crepe. We both tried a little bit of each. We swapped midway through. I thought the salmon one was very, very good, and the goat cheese one was not as good, but it was still good. And I enjoyed that crepe.
Right. I mean, one thing to point out too, they are buckwheat crepes, and so they, they're not like a sweet kind of, when you're thinking of maybe some traditional or what people think is traditional crepes, that they're a sweet kind of dough.
Yeah,
it's
like a pancake. You know what a crepe is. Yeah.
Right. So these have a little bit more level of texture to them and taste, which I thought was really good.
Yeah. I enjoyed the differences. They also, they get their buckwheat straight from France, as we saw in the menu, which I thought was very fascinating, and that's kind of cool. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good crepe, especially like I said, the salmon one was very, very good.
Yes.
There was a couple others we thought about trying, but we decided to go with these ones, and we enjoyed them. We then had the dessert crepe, and I got the apple one, and you got the banana one. And I think if you combine them, one was a little sweeter than the other one. I like apple a lot.
Right.
And they both had caramel on there. I think the banana one wasn't quite as sweet, still a little sweet. They are sweet. They are very sweet.
Right.
But I enjoyed them both. I thought the apple one was great. What did you think about the banana one?
Yeah, I really loved it too. And like you said, that one wasn't quite as sweet. And even the server was the one that kind of helped guide us along in that and kind of pointed out what to expect. He said the apple one is very sweet, and to prepare us for that. Again, still a buckwheat use in the pancake, but it's still held to being very sweet.
Right. And we also did get, like as I mentioned before, we got the hard cider. They have different ones that you can try. They have a sweet one, a semi-sweet, it's a demi-sec,
right?
Or a brut, which is more of a dry. I think did you get the brut?
Yes.
And I got the demi-sec, the semi-sweet. And they both were, I enjoyed them. Like I said, we're not cider drinkers, but I enjoyed them both. I thought they complemented the meal very, very well.
Yes.
I was glad that we got them and sampled them. I don't know if I could they're alcohol, they're hard ciders. I don't know if I'm like, oh, wow, I can really feel the hard part of this hard cider. No, it wasn't like that, but still enjoyed it, and it did complement the meal. I will also say this, if you do the prefix, it is a lot of food. Those crepes are big crepes.
Yes.
We did not end up finishing our dessert dessert crepes.
No.
We ended up boxing those up and bringing those back to the room for us, which we enjoyed in another evening as it turned out.
Right. I mean, it's one of those types of dishes or food kind of experiences where when you're eating it, you do fill up because it does seem like you're eating a lot. However, it's not like you're feeling full for a long time. It's not really super heavy food altogether. So you may feel full at the end of the meal, but not to where it won't be a lasting like, oh my God, I can't move. It's not like that.
So we enjoyed it. I don't know if we'll be rushing back to go there, but I did enjoy our time going to experience it. And I can see going there, like Michelle mentioned, just for a cup of coffee and a crepe. I think I'd prefer, if I'm going to have a crepe, I'd rather do it that way than the quick service and trying to, because they're a little bit clunky to try and eat out in the middle of everything. To me, personally, that's the way.
Well, we kind of saw that. We were, sitting by the window. We could people watch, and there were people who were getting the quick service, and like a family sharing, which is definitely makes sense because they are, kind of a large portion, and struggling because they really didn't have a lot of convenient locations to necessarily put that plate down and cut up. Right. So it was more like everybody's kind of grabbing pieces and stuff. Plus, you're out of the elements, if it's
right on a hot day.
It was really nice to be. So it would be a really great place, I think, to have a nice dessert. Not that the other crepes weren't delicious, but I could see more that as an experience that I would even recommend to people, and having maybe even some nice coffee or.
And there were plenty of reservations available and walk up. You could have even, when we were there, it kind of emptied out. Right. This was around 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. I think it started to empty. It started to empty out. I would say when it emptied out, it was relatively full when we first got there around 7. By 7:30, it was half full, maybe. Right. That you could have walked
half
up.
Empty.
This is a show of positivity.
No, it's just being funny.
You you could have walked up and gotten a spot. And like I said, if you wanted a cup of coffee and a crepe, even just a crepe to split. I mean, they're big enough that you could have split a dessert crepe and a couple cups of coffee, and it would have been an enjoyable experience, I think.
Yeah.
So we exited there, as I mentioned, so it was around 8, a little after 8 by the time we got done with our meal. That meant that Luminous was coming up, and we had never seen Luminous up close. We'd seen it from a distance.
Right.
Never up close. So we staked out, actually, Michelle, because she always finds the best spots. And we also have to be very concerned because Michelle is a little vertically challenged. So we need to make sure that she's right up front somewhere. She found us a wonderful spot right in the Japan Pavilion. Right. So we had a great view of not only where the fireworks and all the effects were going off, but we could see Spaceship Earth as well. Not that it really comes into play within the show, but it's still nice to look at before.
Exactly.
And there is a small portion of it that happens within the show. But we did stay and got a great view of Luminous. Michelle, what did you think of Luminous?
I thought it was beautiful, and really the storytelling I thought was very clear, and I really felt that the message that they were trying to relay, that everybody, no matter what, has elements of life in common, and it's more in common than not. And I just thought it was a great show and experience.
Unfortunately, we never got to see Harmonious. We've heard great things about Harmonious, that people really loved it. And we kept thinking it was going to be going on for a while, and then suddenly it was gone, so we never got to see it. So can't compare it to what...
We did see it on TV.
We did see it on TV. We can't compare it to what Harmonious is, but I really enjoyed Luminous. I think it's a great show. I think we will be back to see it again multiple times. It was really touching, and the message behind it and the storytelling, as Michelle mentioned, and the fireworks and the water effects and the lasers.
Music.
All very good. The music is excellent. I enjoyed it. I think it's a really, really good addition to the nighttime shows at Epcot.
Definitely.
Yeah. So really enjoyed it. Glad we finally got to see it. You know, it had been a few months, and there have been a couple near misses of where we've almost got to see it, but we just hadn't worked out. But tonight we wanted to make it, or that night we wanted to make sure and make it a point, and we did, and we enjoyed it. So then we kind of made our way slowly out of Epcot. From there, we decided to go through World Celebration because it's just so beautiful there at night. So we really wanted to experience that. And we got the extra added bonus of seeing that because it's nearly time. We are getting really, really close now.
Yes.
Like by the time you hear this, we're about a week away from the walls coming down around Communicore Hall. And it's definitely, if you've seen on social media, we posted a video. Communicore Hall is going to be beautiful. It's already making an impact, and the walls are still up of that area there. The lighting, it is going to be another wonderful addition to that area.
Yes. So some of the buildings there are taller than the walls, and we were able to see and experience the lighting effects that they're going to have or show that they do have in that area at nighttime, and how it just complements the lighting that's going on with Spaceship Earth. And it does all come together in that area in terms of how the lighting is playing together.
Yeah. Loved it. Again, that area is so beautiful already. I think they've done a masterful job with it. I mean, it's taken too long, unfortunately, but what they're going to, when the finished product, we're all going to forget about how long it took, because it's going to be such a fantastic place to spend days, and even more so the nights when you're out at Epcot.
Right.
Sure.
Yes. And the ease of getting around is going to be even more so.
So we just sat back for a while and just kind of enjoyed that area, went and got a few pictures taken, and just slowly strolled out of there, caught the monorail back to our resort, and it just finished off what was a good first full day at Walt Disney World.
Right. And again, talking about great cast members, they do continue to take some pictures as people are leaving after Luminous is finished in front of Spaceship Earth. And I think we saw the most charismatic photographer there, who was really taking time with everybody that was coming up for their pictures there, as well as us, and just maybe more unique type poses in a very fun way, and capturing that area that's just so brilliantly lit up at night. It was really special.
Yeah, really. That photographer, we've run into many, many wonderful Disney photographers. He was one of my favorites, directing everybody on, from people who were just solo that were there to full families, and how to capture the best pictures. And he did capture some really wonderful pictures of us. And I believe, not that we saw the finalized product from others, but just the way he was posing them, I have to believe that they were really, really spectacular shots.
Yeah. And one thing I noticed as we're standing in line there, and he did it with us too, but I saw it with everybody, is he thanked them for allowing him to take their photos. And I thought, wow, that was just, again, a very special touch. It's the element of how Disney makes you feel special. Here you have somebody who is taking your picture, and we're all little kind of in that realm of, selfies and everything like that. And here's somebody thanking us for that opportunity. I thought that was really unique and special.
Yeah, it was. It was all around special. It was a really special day. It was a really great day, and enjoyed everything about our day at Epcot. So that closes out Friday. Boy, we like to talk a lot.
I know. We got to move this
Saturday. I know. I'll ramble through Saturday a little bit more. We got up early again. It was going to be even hotter this day, so we went out to Disney's Hollywood Studios. We ended up, again, doing early entry. We got there quite a bit earlier this time. Decided, hey, you know what this also happens to be? This happens to be the other Star Wars Day, the anniversary of when Star Wars A New Hope hit the theaters in 1977. It was May 25th. So let's go ahead, and the first thing we need to do is something Star Wars. If you're there early entry, you need to go on Rise of the Resistance, because you probably can't go on it later in the day. So we went, booked that over there, got in there. We were all excited, got in the queue. About midway through the queue, and then boom. You know what happens with Rise of the Resistance. We ran into that issue, so we had to think on our feet. Are we going to wait this thing out? Because we're fairly about halfway through. We're not going to get a better spot on it. Or are we going to try and still take advantage of this early entry and get to something else? We pivoted. went to something else. We had done Rise of the Resistance just a few weeks earlier, so let's go ahead and do something else. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway line was still relatively short.
Right.
Let's book it over there. We love that attraction. We did that, enjoyed it. That worked out for us. And then we kind of went off through a few things in a row there. We went and did Toy Story Mania, which we hadn't done in a while because we enjoyed that. We did that. Star Tours, of course. We've done that previously, but we had to get some sort of Star Wars in that day. We weren't going to be able to hit Rise of the Resistance. We probably weren't doing Smuggler's Run. So let's do Star Tours. Again, great. Got Ahsoka. Again, wonderful. Loved the new scenes from that. That was a lot of fun. As we all know, #Real Men Love Frozen. So we had to go over and see for the first time in forever a Frozen sing-along celebration. And that show, I'm telling you, they knock it out of the park with that show. It is so good. Plus, it's getting out of the heat for about a half an hour, which is always great as well.
Right. And the ancillary cast of that show are
the historians are so good.
They're hysterical. They really make it really phenomenal, And I do want to say, we talked before about how you do get early entry if you're staying at the resorts. And, to me, I calculated it out. It's kind of like Disney giving you two, I know they don't call it fast passes now, but kind of like that before the park opens, you definitely can get usually in two of the attractions before everybody else is there.
Depending on which ones you pick, but yes.
Right. And, and sometimes you might even be able to squeeze in three. So it is a real great benefit for sure.
Yeah, no, take advantage of that. And if you're staying in a deluxe or a deluxe villa, even more so, take advantage of the extended hours, especially on days like this where it's really, really hot and you want to be there early and you want to be there late when it's a little cooler. Take advantage of those because they are extremely... Look, you're paying a lot to stay at a Disney resort. Take advantage of any perk they give you.
Right.
Those are great perks. So we did that. You may have seen our little video that we posted for a promo. I need to talk about this just a second because I thought there was one funny thing, actually a couple funny things that happened when we were recording that video. So we were out in front of the Hyperion Theater and we decided to do this funny video about,
we hope you think it was funny.
I thought it was funny. Where we're going to film this, where we're going to record our podcast or whatever. But we filmed it. This is going to be a little spoiler alert behind the scenes of how we filmed it. We filmed it separately. Michelle filmed me doing my part. I filmed her doing her part. And one of her parts is, trying to chase me down, going, honey. And we had to do a couple takes because she was in the shadows at one point. I wanted to try and get her more in the sun to get some light. And then there was, I changed the dialogue a little bit when she did it. But when she was doing it twice, when she was going, honey, we had a cast member stop and say, yes, can I help you? And then we had some other guests stop and say, yes, what, you want me to take a picture of you?
No.
It was pretty funny.
It was kind of embarrassing, but yes, it was hilarious.
Oh, that was so funny. So I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was a very funny thing. But we're enjoying your takes on those promos. Some may be funnier than others or some may be more enjoyable than others. But I think that's going to be something that's going to continue on. Maybe not every week, but more often now because we're enjoying doing them. So,
and we're upgrading to have actual mics because we noticed that, and especially in that one because we were outside and it was a busy day.
So we've enjoyed doing them enough that we are making moves to make them hopefully better.
Right.
Like hopefully our comedy timing will be better more than anything else. But anyway, so once we finished all that, it was time to go to our lunch, which Michelle has done this restaurant before. I never had. So it's kind of new for me and it had been a while for Michelle. We decided to do lunch at 50's Primetime Cafe, right, Michelle?
That's right. Yeah. So we had reservations for that. Again, it was great to be able to get out of the heat and have a nice lunch.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I loved it. I love shtick. And there is some great shtick going on there. It's a great experience. It's a lot of fun. If you don't know what it's all about when you go there, you're supposed to be basically visiting your relatives and having lunch at your aunt's house or whatever, and it's, they do it full-fledged with there's rules of the house and everything. And there's, we specifically asked for a table with a TV screen there and they're playing, kind of like what they do with sci-fi where they're playing old science fiction stuff. They're playing old clips of old television shows there, black and white television shows, including the Mickey Mouse Club from the days, the old Musketeers, the original Musketeers. And it's just fun. It is good food, and it was just a great time.
Yeah, I mean, it's, think of home cooking, comfort food type of style. But you sprinkle in there that the cast members, as Tom mentioned, are applying house rules, like things like can't have your elbows on the table and,
don't be using your phones at
right.
the table. As a matter of fact, one of the other tables next to us had their phone confiscated, quote unquote.
Yeah, their kids were using walkie-talkies, they said, but yeah. And again, a lot of great food, the portion sizes I thought were pretty generous.
Very generous. Once again, we ended up boxing up food
right.
and taking it with us because we could not finish everything. We had the onion rings as an appetizer that we split between us, and they were
great onion
rings. Delicious.
Yes.
I got the fried chicken, which is, it's kind of famous for their fried chicken there. Michelle got the sampler plate or mom's sampler plate or whatever. It was just a little bit of the favorite. So it was a little bit of fried chicken, a little bit of the meatloaf, and a little bit of the pot roast. And I thought all three were very good.
Yeah, very tasty.
I think you liked the fried chicken more than anything else.
Right. I think that day I was just being my taste buds were really loving that. But yes, they all tasted great. And again, I can't say they're giant portions, but they're generous portions for sure.
But what was the king for me was that darn peanut butter and jelly shake. I've heard people talk about it. And I'm like, I love peanut butter. That sounds pretty good. I don't know how this is going to work, but if I get in there, I got to try it. And let me tell you, it is a hit. It is, as someone who loves peanut butter,
right? Because
it's more peanut butter, maybe a little hint of jelly. It is peanut butter shake. It is so darn good. We split it kind of between us. I think I had more of it than you, but we really, really got a kick out of that shake.
Yeah, it was nice and thick kind of shake and very creamy. And like you said, the taste of peanut butter, I mean, it wasn't overwhelming. It was just a nice flavor, and it was delicious.
It was delicious. Loved it. It's something that, spoiler alert, Disney Dishes blog hasn't done anything in a while.
I know.
That may inspire me to get back in the game.
Thank goodness.
Look for that as a possibility coming out soon. But that was a beautiful, beautiful shake. One of my favorite shakes I've had on property.
Yeah,
Sure. Loved it, loved it, loved it. So again, same thing. Got hot. Oh, one more thing we did before we left. Over at the Walt Disney Theater there, they have a little preview, a little teaser spot of Inside Out 2. So we went and checked that out. It's a little 10-minute piece of Inside Out 2. We are sold.
Yes,
I think you can say that, Michelle.
Oh, yeah.
We cannot wait for Inside Out 2 after seeing that teaser
For
trailer.
sure. And the other thing that's in that building is a lot of historical things from, the company, different features about films and areas of the park, etc. I know they change it up from time to time. It's definitely worth walking through that area for that purpose too.
Yep, 100%. Lots of great history there. Lots of cool stuff going on. Definitely recommend it. And like I said, I can tell you right now that we were sold on Inside Out 2 completely.
Yeah.
Like we cannot wait. We were discussing before about what movies do we see in theaters? What movies do we wait on and not see in theaters? We may have been completely sold, and then we're probably going to the theater to see Inside Out 2 because it looks phenomenal, and I'm happy with what they seem to be doing with the story from the piece that we saw.
Definitely look great.
Yeah. So headed back to the resort, relaxed again, went over to Trader Sam's Tiki Terrace, decided to get a couple cocktails. The musician was out and playing, and it was hot. But we found a shady spot, and it was kind of a nice way to spend a little bit of the late afternoon.
Yeah. And we were right by the waterfall there. And again, we were staying there for the ambiance. So we wanted to make sure we were really capturing that in having time there and getting some of our favorite cocktails from Trader Sam's.
So that's when we ran into a little bit of an issue of, that Disney Dreams That Soar, the new drone show, is starting up over at Disney Springs. We really want to see it, But then we saw the craziness of the
Yes.
first night and how many people were there and how, like, do we want to battle with that on a hot night and everything? And it's like, this resort is pretty darn comfy. You know what? We live in Florida and we could even drive up on a day and just go see it if we want to a little bit later when the craziness subsides a little bit. And we decided that it was good night. We have all these leftovers. We've got, the nice resort room. Let's go ahead and just call it a day, relax in the room, enjoy the evening. And that's what we did.
Yeah, and it was wonderful doing that too.
Plus the next day, Sunday, May 26th, also happens to be Michelle's birthday. And so we wanted to be ready to go to celebrate Michelle's Magic Kingdom at Magic Kingdom for her birthday. So that's what we did. Again, got up early entry, took the monorail over, zipped right in. We rope dropped, early entry. There's a second rope drop. I guess it's the first rope drop, but another rope drop for early entry there. And most people, we went towards Fantasyland because we figured out what we wanted to do for early entry. Most people were going to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. And believe me, that's where the line went.
Yes.
We instead decided to hit Peter Pan's Flight because we love that attraction, but we don't love it enough to wait for an hour for it. But 15 minutes, we're good. We're going to go on Peter Pan's Flight. And so that's what we did.
Yeah. And a couple things there that I don't think we've noticed. We've talked about how we love the queue there. How they really have done some great things in that area. But one of the things I didn't notice. So when you're going through the kids' room and you see like Tinkerbell coming through and everything, they project some shadows that look pretty high up. Although, in the first ones we saw were bells, and I noticed people were raising their hand, and it looked like then they were actually moving the bells, and the bells were making sounds. I tried to do it, and I actually, as short as I am, I was able to kind of nip it enough to get the sound to go. But then it changed pretty quickly to butterflies. And that was amazing because if you held your hand out still, a butterfly shadow came onto my finger, and it would kind of, if I went really slow, the butterfly would still stay on my finger and move it. If I moved quickly, it wouldn't. But that was an amazing technology interactive activity in that line that I thought was spectacular.
Yeah, we love that ride, but not enough to wait, as I mentioned earlier, about in that queue, enough to see that often. That may have been something that's been there for a long time.
Right.
I don't know. But that queue is fun and interactive and air conditioned, which is nice. So I don't blame you if you want to go and find no time to do it, because there are lots of fun things to do within there. And it's always a hit. Love seeing Tinkerbell fly into the different parts of the room, the kids' rooms and everything. It's really, really an enjoyable queue. They've done a magical job of making that spectacular. For sure.
Fantastic.
So once we got through Peter Pan's Flight, still fantastic dark ride. Love it.
Yes.
It's great. Again, just not worth the wait for most of the time. We decided the next thing we wanted to be sure and hit up was Haunted Mansion, because we had not seen it since they added the Hatbox Ghost to the Haunted Mansion in Magic Kingdom. The Hatbox Ghost has been at Disneyland for years, and we love the Hatbox Ghost there. We wanted to experience the one at Magic Kingdom. Since we were at Peter Pan's Flight, it wasn't that far to get over there. However, one thing we noticed and I didn't know this before, that if you're in there for early entry, you cannot do the Haunted Mansion. There is a separate rope drop area for that. However, we were able to get basically next to it with a few other people. So as soon as they put off the fireworks that culminate the little pre-show ready for rope drop for the general public at the other part, you can just go ahead and go to the attraction. And we did that, and we were, even though it was technically after the official full-fledged rope drop, we were still within the first group to get on that attraction.
Right. Everybody else being held up by Main Street USA would not have been able to walk fast enough to get there as the people who had early entry were
Yeah.
stationed.
Yep. So we did that. Saw the Hatbox Ghost. What did you? I know it was a big controversy of where they put the Hatbox Ghost within this attraction. What did you think about the Hatbox Ghost within Haunted Mansion?
It's always so cute, just focus.
Cute. I don't know if Hatbox Ghost is cute, but I know
I
what you're
think
talking
it's a
about.
cute little.
Cute little fiend.
Yes, but how it happens and everything, and it's cute in that regards. Yes.
It's a fun piece. I have no problem with where they put it. I think it's doesn't make sense storytelling wise. Maybe not. But I think it works within the attraction itself. I enjoyed it. I had no issue with it, and I'm glad to see the Hatbox Ghost because I think the Hatbox Ghost is amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see it there. Within
Definitely.
The attraction. Yeah. So love that. Then we went over and we saw that Pirates of the Caribbean was basically a walk-on.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's zip over to Adventureland and go do Pirates of the Caribbean. Did that. Then it was time for what we decided we were going to do because we found out the night before about Richard Sherman's passing, as we mentioned earlier in the show. It was time to do our small little tribute to Richard Sherman and some of the many attractions that were in Magic Kingdom that he had played a part in. So the first thing that was right near Pirates of the Caribbean was Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. So we had to take that in, of course, in the Tiki room.
Right, yes, which is so cute.
Yeah. I had to definitely take that in. Love it. Still, I'm a Tiki Room fan. Plus, again, on a hot day, another attraction where you can get in there for about 15, 20 minutes air conditioning.
Right.
Take advantage of that. Then it was back over to Fantasyland for It's a Small World, probably the attraction song that the Sherman Brothers may be best known for.
Right, for attractions, yes.
Always great. And, it's still amazing to me how they came up with that song and it can work seamlessly throughout all these different lands and all these different, children of the world singing together. And it's wonderful.
Right. And it is the anniversary year of when that attraction opened.
So did that. Then it was over to Tomorrowland for another. Well, we took a little detour because the People Mover was basically a walk-on. So we had to do a little stop at the People Mover first because we didn't know how long it would be a walk-on. Did a ride on the People Mover. Then we went over to Carousel of Progress because it is a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
Right.
And we had to take that in. Again, another 20 minutes of air conditioning on a hot day. But, the music, the story, it's all fun. We would hit the Carousel of Progress anyways, but especially on a day like this, where we were kind of celebrating a little bit of Richard Sherman.
Right. Yes, it was. And it was, emotional to be in that attraction at that time for sure.
Yeah. So happy to do that. Got out and guess what? The TTA People Mover was still a walk-on. So we went and said, you know what? We love the People Mover. Let's get back on it again. And not only did we once, we were getting near the end of it. And then Michelle asked, hey, can we go again? And she must have seen the birthday button or Michelle's just shining personality. But they're like, yeah, get right back in. Got right back into our car and went around again.
Yeah. It was fun. It was a fun little extra special thing to do on my birthday.
Yes. The People Mover. It's, it's just so relaxing and chill and get fun views. And it's, even doing it 3 times within about an hour was still well worth it.
Exactly.
We were talking about it at the time. We're like, and this is a little bit of a selling point to Monday Morning Monorail. Our friends over there, Justin, Landon, and Steffers.
Right.
They're doing next year. They're doing for Landon's 40th birthday. Mm-hmm. They're doing Living with the Landon, where he's going to ride Living with the Land as many times as he possibly can on that day.
And raising money
for it. You should check into it and you should donate and help them along, and also subscribe to their YouTube channel because they're trying to get a big push for that so they can
do
it going live with it several times. So please go check all that out.
Yeah, they're fundraising for a very worthy cause to help feed people in Tennessee.
Yes, so definitely go do that. But we were talking about it. We're like, Landon's going to do that, and I totally get it. I could ride that over and over again. But if there's one attraction that I could just sit and ride over and over again all day, might be the People Mover. That might be it. That might
I know. That would be a fun thing to do for sure.
Right. So then we wanted to do another thing we hadn't done in a while, and that was we headed over to the Monsters Inc. laugh floor because it's a simple little show, but we love that show because it's just a little bit different every time you go, and so we had to do that.
Yeah. I, again, love the technology and the fun that they make that. So each show has some elements that are very unique to the audience that's present.
Yeah, it's always fun. Great time, good laughs.
Yep.
And again, it's all about the people that do it, the monsters that do it, and the people that take on roles within the audience, which is always so fun. So, highly recommended. If you've never done it, go do it. If you haven't done it in a while, check it out. It's a lot of fun. Then we decided to do something that I'm not sure. Michelle wasn't sure if she'd done it before. I've never eaten there, but we decided for her birthday, let's try something different. And we went to eat lunch at the Plaza restaurant.
Yeah. I mean, as we were sitting there, I realized I think I have been there, but if I have, it's been so long. It was before I moved to California.
Yeah. So we went there and we got it was a nice ambiance. It was a little crowded and I was concerned it was going to be quite noisy, but actually where we were seated, there was some noise, but we could hold a regular conversation between us and it wasn't an issue. So I was pretty happy about that. As far as the food, it was okay. I wouldn't say it was a super hit, but we enjoyed it enough. I think they could do some different things with that restaurant and make it even better, but I enjoyed it. One thing I will say is that when we came to dessert, we asked because we were thinking about, do we eat dessert in here or do we go, because the ice cream shop didn't really have a line, which I was shocked by because it's like
hot.
100 degrees out.
Yes.
They didn't really have a line, so we could go get our brownie sundae that we always like. And we asked our server, it's not on the menu, but do you guys do a brownie sundae? And they're like, yeah, we could do a brownie sundae for you. So even though it was on the menu, they couldn't do it. And she came back with the most enormous brownie sundae.
Yeah.
I think it was like so much bigger than what we would have gotten from the ice cream shop. And we were thrilled by that and what we got out of that.
Yeah, talk about a generous serving of ice cream. It definitely exceeded what you normally get in the ice cream shop, which that is always very, again, great and generous. So this was phenomenal.
Yeah. It was huge. We got a nice sized brownie, like a lot of mint chocolate chip ice cream, which is one of our favorites. Hot fudge on there, whipped cream, couple cherries. It was enormous.
Yeah, it was.
We finished it, which I think we were a little surprised with ourselves, but it's not something we could have taken the brownie back to the room, but we're not taking the ice cream back to the room. So we're like, we're okay. We're finishers. We'll finish this.
It was enough definitely to split. It was great. Oh, yeah. We were missing Scott at that moment.
Yeah.
We thought, we need a third person to help.
But it was really good. That was the best part of it. We also got one of their shakes. I'll just say this. I wasn't as impressed with their shake as I was with the peanut butter and jelly shake from 50's Primetime we got the day before. Wasn't a terrible shake, just wasn't nearly as good as that one.
Right. They have some standard shakes like chocolate and vanilla, but they also had some specialty shakes that kind of could be for dessert or as a meal shake. And we had gotten the strawberry one, which was supposed to be kind of like
a strawberry shortcake.
Right. And it was good. The flavors were good. It was the consistency. It was not as thick and creamy that you would get at whether we had at the Primetime Cafe or that you would get at Sci-Fi Diner or a lot of other places that, are known for their great shakes. This wasn't like that. Now, maybe it just happened to be that batch or something like that. I don't know if they make some up in advance. But it was, like you said, it was okay. The flavor was good, but it didn't stand out.
It had good large pieces of strawberries in it and everything, but it was more like a strawberry milk, a strawberry milk shake almost.
Exactly.
But it was fine. It just wasn't my favorite. I mean, after it was hard to beat that peanut butter and jelly shake. So I don't know if anything would have beaten that. So, but it was still enjoyable. We enjoyed our lunch there. Decided to head back at that point again through the day, hot again. Let's head back to our room at the Poly. Went back, tried to figure out how we're going to do the rest of the day. Are we going back to Magic Kingdom? Are we going to Disney's Hollywood Studios? Are we going to go see that drone show? It's Michelle's birthday. let's figure out what she wants to do. And she decided, you know what, there's something else that we hadn't done yet that we've talked about, but we wanted to experience. And that was going over to Fort Wilderness. Oh, we've been to Fort Wilderness many, many times.
Right.
We love it. But we have not been since they've rethemed or kind of changed around, reimagined Crockett's Tavern over there to try out some of their cocktails and food. So we decided to go take a couple boats, one boat from Polynesian to Magic Kingdom and another boat from Magic Kingdom to Fort Wilderness, and go check out Crockett's Tavern.
Yeah. Again, it was taking the two boats. It was a little bit warm for that, but it, was definitely still worth getting out there and checking out. We also went to the little country store that they have there as well, and kind of got a look at some of the new merchandise that they have there, which is a lot of cute things.
Yeah. We also got to see some of the, we talked about this a few episodes ago when we were doing the Earth Day episode, talking about their conservation and how they're taking bottles and making a sand kind of out of it. And we got to see some of that and see what it's all about. And see, it's a little bit bigger than I thought. I thought it'd be a little bit finer. But it is interesting to see how colorful and interesting how they've made this area where they can use that to kind of fill in some spots using this basically recycled glass turned back into kind of large sand.
Right. Yeah, it was, if you think more kind of pebble size.
Yeah.
And what was really fun watching was there was about 3 or 4 kids there kind of playing in it, because it's very safe to touch. There aren't sharp
no edges.
No edges. Yeah. I mean, this is what they use also in the trails for the horses. But kids were looking at the colors, and they were in search of certain colors. Like one was looking for all the blue and one was looking for the yellow. And it was fun watching. It was kind of like they were mining gold or something like that there. It was cute seeing that they came up with their own little fun activity to do over this recycled material. It was great. Because it was also in an area that, sometimes kids play in. It wasn't the official play area, but it was an area
kind of on the side of that.
Yes. So it was cute.
Yeah. And I was glad to get to experience that, since we had heard the story about it and, and talked about it.
Right.
That we got to see it in use. And I'm very impressed with Disney for doing that there. Headed into Crockett's Tavern, got a great seat. We're just sitting there. They had TVs on with some games on. But we were still a little full from there, so we didn't get a lot of food, but they had a crispy cauliflower on there, which is a little spicy, and it comes with coming with remoulade sauce to dip it in that we got. And we got a moonshine flight to split, which is, it's not just straight moonshine. It's kind of moonshine cocktails. And we enjoyed both things. I thought the crispy cauliflower was very good. A little bit of spice to it, but yummy. And then we had the moonshine, which I think we both enjoyed all 3 of the cocktails that were there, but I think we all found our favorites and drank a little more of those. And I liked it. I liked what they've done there. I like the ambiance, and I like, like I said, I would like to try more of the food. We were just a little full when we visited already. Yes. But what we did get the chance to sample, we think we really enjoyed.
Yeah, definitely enjoyed it. Would recommend people to, even take that little side trip to go out there if you're not staying on property. There are other ways to get there. In the afternoon, they do have boats that go between the Contemporary Wilderness Lodge and Fort Wilderness. So those boats run in the afternoon. So if you're if you're not at the park and you're at one of those other resorts, you can get there in the afternoon from there, which is good, because Crockett's Tavern doesn't open until 3, I believe. Right. But yeah, definitely, as much as I love that and was impressed with the food and the drinks, I would love to go back. They have a trio of sliders that I'd like to try. They also have a trio of dessert items, which includes a sampling from the Hoop-de-Doo review of the strawberry shortcake. So yeah, there's plenty to enjoy there.
We'll be going back there again. Yeah, I mean, if you want to take a monorail stop off on, from if maybe your day at the Magic Kingdom and just do a quick. Well, you can just do a boat from Magic Kingdom, but you could also, if you're headed to the Contemporary or even from TTA, you can just take the monorail over to the Contemporary and take the boat over. Sure. Whatever. There's lots of ways to get there if you want, and of course you can always drive in there and park now. It's wide open. You just tell them at the front gate, look, we're going to go over to Crockett's Tavern. Right. You park there, you hop on a bus, and they'll take you over there. There's many ways to get there, but really enjoyable, and glad we went to go check it out. And if you're going to Hoop-de-Doo, if you you want to get there a little early and sample a little stuff. I mean, there's plenty of food. You probably don't need the extra food since you're going to be doing hoop-de-doo.
Right.
But maybe an extra cocktail might not be a bad thing.
Yeah, because the ambience is really nice. You can also, if you're at other parks, you can get there directly by bus.
Yeah.
And in fact, some of those, well, no, those buses go at the beginning. Just know that if you're doing that, you may have to take a secondary bus.
Think of it as many of the moderate resorts where you get there, and depending on where your room is, you're going to be taking a second bus to that from the bus station or whatever. But that's not the case if you take the boats over. It's right next to the boat landing there. So we did that. Took the boats back. And do we want to do anything else that evening? No, you know what? We still have a lot of food that we'd boxed up and left over. So how does Michelle want to spend her birthday evening? We got a bottle of wine. We got out some of our leftovers. We watched Happily Ever After again.
Right.
Still a hit. And we just enjoyed the evening there at the resort. Next day was checkout day. It was Memorial Day. It was going to be the hottest day that we'd been there.
Right.
Luckily, we were blessed enough to go in 60 days out and book something very, very special for that day. Michelle, how did we spend our last day during this Memorial Day weekend visit to Walt Disney World?
So we had, as you said, we were very fortunate to be able to get a reservation for at the Oasis pool. They do have these patios. They call them patios. It's like a partially covered hut kind of situation. It's not as elaborate as the cabanas that you would see at...
It's also not the price of the cabanas.
Right, that you would see like at Grand Floridian or Contemporary and Yacht and Beach Club. But it is where you are in a shaded area. You have padded seatings. You have like a padded couch. You have a couple lounge chairs. They provide you with a little basket of some snacks and another little cooler that has some sodas in there
and some water.
So it's reserved. You get it for the day from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. You don't have to be there when it first opens because it is reserved and it has your party's name there. And so you can go to it whenever you want to. You can leave and go back to it. And because it's also in the pool area, they call it their quiet pool. It's really not their quiet pool because since it's a quieter pool.
There's no slide there.
Right.
That helps,
right.
And they're not doing the big activities there.
Exactly. But they do have, it's one of those where it's not a super deep pool, and they have where you can walk into it where it just gradually increases. So you do get more of the kids there, but that was fun. It was still great. I'm not saying that as a complaint thing. It's just, you have over at the Contemporary, they do have a quiet pool that does tend to be pretty quiet. But this one, it was nice that there were families there, and they were all enjoying themselves, and it was great to be there, but to have our own little area was spectacular, which is why you hadn't heard yet us say we went back to the Contemporary to do the pools, because we knew we were going to have an entire pool day, that we really weren't necessarily looking to do more pool time on the other days.
Yeah. So we ended up being lucky enough to book it. We've tried in the past and we have not had luck with it because there's only 3 of them and they only cost, $150 for the entire day. Yeah. And you get all that stuff. It can fit up to 8 people, I think there. There's definitely seating for up to 8 people. Right. I don't know exactly what they cut off on what they say they cut it off at, but you can definitely fit up to 8 people there. You're right by the pool. You are a little bit more out in the open than the regular cabanas.
Right.
And they don't have a fridge. They have a cooler for your drinks, but you do get drinks. The drinks were a surprise to us, and the snacks a little bit. We weren't necessarily expecting that. We were just looking for a nice assured area where we're going to get some shade and a comfortable place to sit by the pool. And we've seen it many times and we thought that'd be really awesome to do at some point. So,
yeah, they don't have a TV like the cabanas, so don't look for that. They do have an electrical area in one of the poles that you can charge things.
Yep. And they do have a ceiling fan, which I don't know if it is a hot day. I don't even know if I noticed the ceiling fan going, but still it's a great spot. They have servers. You can get alcoholic cocktails, and you can also get food there delivered to you because they have a bar and a grill right next to the Oasis. You can get that for a charge. It's not included in your price, but they come around all the time.
Yes.
Like so often we have to say, sorry, we're not ready for another cocktail yet.
Right.
But it was very, very convenient, and it was a wonderful spot. And we felt very blessed to have the chance to just kind of relax there for the day.
Yeah. A couple things is that the person who is taking the orders is going around to everybody in that pool area. So if you don't get a cabana, you still can have, you don't have to be going yourself
and they have a couple
to the grill.
servers going around too. Yeah.
The other thing is, we did at 60 days from our reservation, our first night, we called to get this reservation, but we couldn't get it for that day. So it was our third night.
Yeah, it was actually.
So we benefited that, you can, at 60 days and up until 10 days, you can check for reservations of these things.
We were actually trying to get it for earlier during our trip.
Right.
As it turns out, though, I think this ended up being the perfect thing because it was checkout anyway, so we couldn't be in our room or whatever. And it's like, what do we do? We can still have a full day there. We got to get everything out, and then we have a nice place. And it ended up, especially with the weather, it was the hottest day we had been there. And it would have been tough for us to get everything packed up out of the room and get to a park early in the morning.
Right.
So it was pretty much, either go later when it was hotter or just decide, when it's checkout time, we're going home. This was a nice balance between the two. If we could still, not have to rush out in the morning.
Right.
And we knew we had this place reserved. Even if we didn't get there right at 10 a.m., no one's taking that spot. We don't have to fight for a lounge chair under umbrella. Or anything. No, we had this spot. If we wanted to go get lunch someplace else or go do anything, we could have. We ended up pretty much parked there for the whole day, but we didn't have to. If we wanted to go to the park for an hour or two, we could have done it and still come back and had that spot. It's wonderful. For $150, it's a bargain. If you can book it, do it. It's a steal.
Yes.
It's ridiculously crazy how good that is, especially if you have a family of, 4, 5, 6 people, more than that. Everybody pitch in. It's great. $150. It's so worth it.
Right. Yeah. And, if you are somebody fortunately we're just, an hour and a half drive back to our house. But let's say you were having to travel, by plane, and that was your checkout day. They do have showers in the restrooms there that are right in that same pool area that you could, if you wanted to, spend time at the pool and then take a shower and get dressed to head out to the airport. So there are a lot of conveniences. Whether you get the cabana, or they don't call it, they call it a patio, or if you're just staying at the pool there, you could still, enjoy that benefit.
Yeah. Highly recommended it. And it couldn't have ended our trip any better. It was just so relaxing. We've been moving around a lot, walking around a lot, doing a lot of things the days before, even though it didn't sound like maybe in the evenings we were doing as much. We did a lot during the day. And so it was so nice to have a day to just kind of relax and enjoy, what was a fine Memorial Day weekend, and it was kind of a fine wrap up for Michelle's birthday celebration as well.
Definitely made it a spectacular day. But yeah, it was, or the entire weekend you made spectacular. But yeah, having that ability to be at the resorts and enjoy the ambiance throughout, spending time sitting on the lanai, looking out to see the Magic Kingdom and, the other activities, or the boats taking people from, transportation and ticket center, and you could hear them boarding and excited and stuff. It was just all around really a pleasant experience, fun way to have a long vacation. Vacation.
One of our favorite things is, or at least my favorite things, was I'd get up in the morning and take a cup of coffee out on our lanai and just watch the sunrise as we were. We were up early in the morning because we knew we were going to the parks early, but I could sit out there and take a moment and just enjoy the Seven Seas Lagoon and the sun rising, and then getting all prepped for the ferry boats. And, we even heard some announcements. I don't know what they were all about, if they were trying to get people who are working on the park or whatever out of Magic Kingdom, or, no, look, we're getting ready to open up, so you guys got to pack up everything or whatever. But, just kind of that fun little ambiance, being at the Poly is just really, really nice.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's it. Is there anything else that you can think of that we didn't cover? I don't know how we could know because this has been so long. But
No, I think you covered it great.
yeah. So that is our recap of our Memorial Day weekend and Michelle's birthday trip to Walt Disney World. If you have any questions about it, if there's anything you want to know about our trip, if there's any way we can help you with your trip, see if you want to have any questions about anything we experienced during this, please hit us up. Social media, Gmail account. We're always happy to help.
Right.